Now, if that wasn't enough, guys, I have to tell you about something that happened 10 days or 14 days, 2 weeks after that sighting of those robed figures coming up the way. Right alongside in back of Chatsworth Park, there's a train track with a tunnel running from Simi Valley into the valley, San Fernando Valley, and it's a very old train track, and we used to actually go through this tunnel when we were younger and hide out and let the train go through and stuff. Hey, I'll insert some pictures of that train tunnel right here. And basically 2 weeks after we saw these hooded, robed figures coming up, going up to do some type of ritual or sacrifice, there was one of the most, if not the most deadly train accident in all of US history. It took place on September 12th, 2008 at around 4:30. And it just so happened that we were there 2 weeks or 10 days earlier, also around 4:30, around the same time that this train accident happened. And let's just run this little film footage right here for you. Huge train accident where one hit another train.
Paramedic 58, what's the address of the emergency? Yes, I'm on the Metrolink train. We just left notorious, Chatsworth Station heading towards Simi. We had a collision with something. We had a whole bunch of people going down, bleeding on the floor. Is that train? It's the Metrolink train. Okay, can you give me the intersection or something close to? We're almost at the first tunnel going into towards Simi Valley.
Yes, train versus another train. People are bleeding and hurt here.
But we've got several people who are injured and bleeding.
And this train accident was a result of the engineer, the conductor, texting on his phone. He got distracted and didn't notice that these two tracks were going to come together in one track, and this long train, a freight train with like 20-something cars, collided with this metro rail holding a whole bunch of people, commuters, and I think 25 people died, as well as maybe hundreds of injuries. And it they just ran into each other, both going 80 miles an hour. That's a combined force of energy of 160 miles an hour, guys. Now the freight train collided into they both hit each other, but the freight train was way more heavy and telescoped right into the Metrolink train, basically crushing people to death and starting a fire on the inside of the train cars with all sorts of petrol spilling out over it, and it was just an absolute disaster, guys. Like I said, I'm not sure if this is just a strange coincidence, but I think it's very strange that I would not have gone to that park in like 30 years, and then that day we see a bunch of Satanists going up to do some kind of strange ritual, which is, I don't know what they were, and then basically 10 days or 2 weeks later, right in the general vicinity, we have this incredibly bad train disaster with all these deaths. It's very strange, guys. It might be a total coincidence, what can I say? But that's not all. And soon after the trail derailment, there was a closure of Chatsworth Park. The whole park was closed down. They put up a chain link fence around the whole park. And their excuse was that there were lead bullets that were poisoning the ground, and that maybe some kids were picking up these lead bullets from the 1960s and maybe, who knows, putting them in their mouth or becoming, I don't know. Lead is a very toxic substance to humans. But soon after, they closed down this whole park, and it wasn't just for a short period of time, it was for more than 8 years, guys. Maybe even longer, 9 years this park was shut down. And this was just after the week that we had been in the park. We saw those Satanists or witches coming up the hill, and they went up into the rocks. Soon after that, there was a train derailment and an accident. Well, not derailment, but a head-on collision where 25 people died and hundreds were injured. And then soon after that, the park was mysteriously closed down and fenced off. And I don't really believe the whole typical story that this was lead bullet casings or lead bullets left over from the 1960s. You just go in there with a bunch of metal detectors and find out where the lead is and just dig it out. But you don't have to put a fence around the whole park. And like I said, many years it reopened, and finally it has reopened. But I find that very strange and a little bit more than coincidental. But let's say it was a coincidence and it was just a strange series of events. That could also be true, but I just wanted to bring it to you and show you what we had experienced out there in Chatsworth Park. Of course, right around the corner where the tunnel was also the tunnel that another group of people used to hang out in. So this was one of the tunnels that the train was coming through. I believe the freight train was coming through this way and collided in with the metro rail. I could be wrong, who knows, but this is the tunnel that we used to go into as kids and mess around. But like I said, the tunnel was being used, or had been used, by another famous family, the Manson family. That's right. Charles Manson and his followers used to drive dune buggies through this very tunnel. 45 years earlier. They used to drive their dune buggies and hang out and along these railroad tracks in this general vicinity. You guys have seen me do a lot of videos on the Manson family. I'm a little bit fascinated by that whole story. I am not a Charles Manson fan by any means, but I am very interested and fascinated by the story of the Manson family. Remember, I was up there in Bel Air with my famous mother. We lived in Bel Air, California. Someday I'll show you pictures of my house. But we were afraid that the Charles Manson family was going to come up and get us. Back in 1969, guys. Remember, he was up there looking around and creepy crawling in people's houses, and we were up a very long private road with a bunch of other celebrities around us, and we thought he was going to come up and get us, So I personally lived through this era, and I think that's why I have a little bit of a fascination by the Charles Manson family and their motives. I don't like the story, I don't like talking about the details, it's just too incredibly disgusting and disturbing, but I am interested in Spawn Ranch. I've taken you out there many times. Which is out just around the corner from where this train derailment happened and where we saw this coven of witches or whatever they were, who knows, but yep, they're modern day witches or Satanists or paganists or whatever they were, Wiccans, I don't know. So hey, leave it in the comments. Tell me what you think about my story. Are these events connected in any way? I just find it pretty fascinating, and kind of coincidental that all this would happen when I haven't been to this park in basically 30 to 40 years. Who knows? But anyways, that's me. I hope you enjoyed my little story. I have a witness, like I said, my friend Mike. He can testify to this. He thought it was strange as well. And I kind of wanted to go back the year later on the same day to see if these worshipers would go up the trail again, but I didn't write down the date, so I don't really know. I don't know if it was like the harvest date that they were worshiping, or I don't know. I don't know anything about that whole astrology stuff, and or the dates of the summer solstice or the winter. I don't know any of that. But I remember that it was somewhere around September, early September, and then this train derailment or accident, happened on September 12th, 2008. But very strange, guys, huh? Anyways, hope you enjoyed it. So, hey, share with your friends, hit like and subscribe, share that with everybody, all right? And you can hit me up on PayPal or Patreon to donate to my channel if you'd like. And I certainly would appreciate that. So anyways, that's me, Drew, signing off. Cheers now.